Hello, Potato. I'm calling it. Even though it's still September, I'm calling it spooky season officially now. We've got our decorations up here. See, because the last couple days, I went to a shop and they already had like half of their Christmas stuff out. Foods and decorations and ornaments and like it's not even October, and that's fine. That's why Halloween stuff comes out in July and August, because Christmas stuff comes out in September. So given that, I am fine calling it spooky season now. And of course that means it's time to find spooky things. Now the Happy Haunt Hunt, not so much going on that this year. Not a lot of new Haunted Mansion items, and what there is new, I'm not that impressed with. I got a chance to see the animatronic Lowe's Hitchhiking Ghosts, and I was pretty much just as underwhelmed with them as I was seeing them in pictures. Gus looks pretty good. Ezra's face sculpt is decent, and at least he has pants. But Phineas is absolutely awful. Phineas looks like he was created by a Scooby-Doo artist. For some reason, they gave him a full-size shirt and no pants, so the waist of his coat just is at his feet. And instead of their arms moving to, hitchhike, everything but their arms moves. Now, I know in the ride, their whole body like kind of sways side to side, but it still gives the impression of the arm hitchhiking, and the arms in this don't move at all. Like, even with the body, it's got kind of that swivel waist sort of thing going on. And the sound out of them is nice. It does play Grim Grinning Ghosts. But yeah, I don't do animatronics, and that certainly is not going to make me start. So given the lack of Happy Haunt Hunt items this year, I have looked for other things. I found a couple really cool ones. At least I think they're cool. Your mileage may vary, but I don't generally worry about being cool. I mean, I feel like the hundreds of videos on this channel demonstrate that better than any words ever could. But I have found a couple of Halloween, technically plush items. One's definitely plush. The other's like in the plush department, but you wouldn't want to cuddle with it. And let's just look at those today. That's today. Just looking at a couple of Halloween items that probably will take up residence here on the set for the rest of Halloween season. At least as long as space allows. There may be videos where I have to take things off just because what I'm doing is too large. I'm looking at you, Lego. Right here, let's just get into it. All right, first off, pick this up at a local... It's a brand I've seen before. I've never bought one, but I feel like it's strangely appropriate for this channel. And that is Smoko. Smoko the Mochi Potato. It says on here, Skeleton Tayto Mini Mochi Plush. So yeah, I figured, potatoes are kind of a thing on this channel. I have a couple potatoes around here. And I've seen this guy before at the bookshop. They have a few different Smokos. Maybe I actually have had this one. And I've given him a pass. But I saw him in a different store. And I thought, I have a coupon for here. I'm going to buy this and I'm going to put him probably over there. Yeah, it's a little squishy potato. It's kind of like one of those Squishimals, maybe a little firmer than that. It's got that kind of satiny, like microfleece, I think is the term. Kind of a finish to it. It's very smooth. He is 100% polyester fiber, or they are 100%. I don't know if potatoes have genders. Spot clean, air dry only. Yeah, I thought it was really cute. I think he was $12.99. Yeah, $12.99. And I had like a $5 coupon. So I bought a squishy skeleton spooky potato. I mean, how can you say no to that face? On our next item. Next item comes with a little bit of a story. We'll get into that after. It's from Spirit, of all places. I actually found something cool at Spirit that wasn't Haunted Mansion. And indeed, I haven't found anything cool Haunted Mansion at Spirit this year. It's been a lot of the same stuff from last year. We've seen videos that show a couple things that we'd like to find, like they have some stemless stemware. We wouldn't mind getting that's Haunted Mansion, or at least taking a close look at it to see if we want it. But none of the spirits we've gone to so far have had that. They've pretty much exclusively just had some of what they had last year, and not even that much of that. It's been kind of a bad year for Haunted Mansion and Spirit for us. Also weird, they have like the Squid Game stuff. They have no Fallout. How is there not a ton with another series about to come out? The first series doing really well, the fact that the video game has been popular for like 30 years almost. There's a TV series that was popular, and there's another series coming out this year. Why is there no officially licensed Fallout outfits? That seems really weird to me. Like, I would potentially buy like reproduction guns and stuff, but yeah, there aren't any. It's weird. Or at least if there are some, I don't know where they are, because there's no Party City anymore, and Spirit is kind of the only Halloween store in my area. They used to have like Halloween City, but I think that was owned by Party City, and they did. But anyways, I went into Spirit. We were looking for like the stemless stem or anything else that had come in. We hadn't been in there in a couple weeks. They were clearly still stocking when we went in the first couple times. Give them a chance to finish getting their supply in. And I found something really cool. It's from a movie, instrumental in my childhood. And there's a story that goes along with this. And it's, I've never seen merchandise from this film before. But it's, if you're under the age of 45, you're probably not going to recognize who this is immediately, but some of you in the right age group will recognize this. Yeah, it's a clown. It's a creepy, plush, jingly clown, which is actually too tall to be on camera the way I have the camera set. I guess I should have put him on here first when I set the camera up. Let's fix that. There we go. That's better. So for some of you in my age group and older, you're going to recognize this guy probably, or at least very least in the back of your head. There's something a little disquieting about him. And again, he's from a movie that I've never seen merchandise for, and that movie is Poltergeist. Now, not the 2015 remake, which was, reimagining is probably more accurate. It's not really a remake. It's like Poltergeist if it was made by Sam Raimi, which is not a bad thing, but it's largely unnecessary. But I saw this guy on the rack, and I instantly recognized him because, childhood memories. Poltergeist is probably, it's definitely one of, if not my absolute favorite horror movie. And I said, there's a story about that. Now, he's pretty screen accurate. Obviously, he's quite a bit smaller, but he's got the big dangly legs. So if you've never seen the original Poltergeist, I guess I should give you a little context. Go somewhere on YouTube and watch the trailer. You'll see the clown. The clown, I think the clown featured more in some of the trailers than it does on the actual film. It's only in a couple scenes in the film. But given that there is like no visible antagonist in the first Poltergeist movie, they do create one in the second one. But given that there's no actual like antagonist in the first movie, he does sort of fill in the role of the visually creepy guy. He is the son's stuffed clown. I don't remember the son's name. I haven't watched the movie in a few years. But there's a pivotal scene where the poltergeist brings it to life and attacks the kid by trying to strangle him with these really, really long arms. The arms get much longer in the movie. And again, he's smaller than he is in the film. In the film, he's, I think, probably at least a third larger than this. But otherwise, I think fairly screen accurate. The only complaints I really have about him is that looking at pictures from the movie, the hair should be a little longer because it really should stick out more to the side than I managed to get it to do. It's much floofier in the film. And the other thing is just that right up here at the top, the place where the hat attaches to the head, it keeps pushing up and revealing that little plastic divot, which I'm not super happy about, but it's not that big of a deal. And that's why, I said you wouldn't want to cuddle with him. And it's not because he's creepy, it's because he is fairly hard plastic, and to keep him upright, he's actually got a plastic core that runs through the entire torso. So that, which is great for making him sit up, kind of like he does in the film. But it's not cuddly. You wouldn't want to give him like a hug. You wouldn't want him to be in bed with you. I mean, even if you didn't find him off-puttingly creepy, because I mean, objectively, there's nothing creepy about him other than him being a clown. But look, he's got the jingles. He jingles nicely. I keep smacking the camera arm here. He jingles really nicely. And again, I think maybe, not tonally exactly the same as the movie, because again, the movie he's larger, therefore the bells are larger, therefore they jingle at a different frequency. But I really like it. This is like my favorite thing I found so far this spooky season. That's including things like the mini lantern and the Haunted Mansion tombstones, which, love to death. But this is so far my favorite Halloween edition this year. Possibly even more so than the Lego. And again, it's because Poltergeist is kind of a core childhood memory. Now, I'm gonna talk now, and it's probably going to be boring, but I want to explain to you why Poltergeist is so important to me. And it's not just because it's a well-made Spielbergian film from the absolute peak of Spielberg's time, but when I was a child, this movie came out in, I think, 1982, and I was far too young to be seeing this movie at that time. It's not super gory or anything, but it is legitimately scary. It has nightmarish imagery in it. It's not a film for the kiddies, even by today's standards, even by the standards of the age that gave us things like Goonies. This was not a film for the kiddies. And my mother had taken me to the movie theater at the Fashion Island Mall. This mall no longer exists. This mall didn't have the largest theater in the world. It did have an ice rink, which made it very nice in the 80s. But it did not have the largest movie theater. So what they would frequently do to be able to play more movies is essentially do double features. But they didn't want you to stay and watch both movies. So they would put things together that sort of thematically went, but didn't go together for age group. For example, and this will give you a hint as to where the story is going to go. When I was in high school, we went there to see the movie Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare for probably the third or fourth time. And they had it paired up with Ernest Scared Stupid. Yes, they had I think, fairly hard R horror film paired up with a PG children's film. And that's what happened here. Flashback a dozen or so years, and we had gone to the theater to see Annie. Little Orphan Annie. It's been remade since then. There's TV versions, but this was the 80s version of it. And they were playing it after Poltergeist. And I, of course, told them I can handle Poltergeist. I'd seen the ads. I'd even seen this fella in the ads, I'm pretty sure. Because, they air the ads at all times of, during prime time and stuff. And I can handle Poltergeist. I'm fine with this. I think I'd even seen bits of it at the drive-in. Because I do have a strong core memory of the scene where the toys are flying around the bedroom. And that's much earlier in the film than when I know we went in to watch it. So yeah, I convinced Mom that was perfectly cool going in and seeing Poltergeist. This was like the third act. This is the part where everything is going down. And I remember being in there in the scene where and I'm sorry if I'm going to spoil a 25-year-old movie for people who haven't seen it, but you should still watch it. It's still a well-made film. The scene where the coffins, or the caskets, are popping up through the bottom of the pool, through the floor in the kitchen. And now, thinking back on this doesn't make sense that they'd be popping up in the pool, because the pool would be dug deeper than the graves would have been for the bodies. I mean, if they were deep enough that they'd be under a pool, it'd be a lot of work to get one to shove up through the kitchen floor. But that's probably applying too much adult logic to a movie that was just trying to be creepy and exciting, and succeeded. But yeah, I saw the final act of Poltergeist, and yeah, it was a bit much for young Void. But that said, it is one of my all-time favorite horror films, Probably because I saw it so young, probably because it had such an effect on me. I won't say that it put me on the path to liking horror, because I already had been raised on things like the old black and white The Fly and The War of the Worlds and stuff like that. So it's not like I was a totally unexposed to horror and science fiction. But it probably was my first exposure to like modern horror, even though it's like, I'm sure PG-13, if that by now. I mean, there's the scene with the guy's face. I'm guessing that would get it a PG-13. I don't know what it's actually rated. I know PG-13 was like invented in my childhood, so I don't know if it existed in 1982 or not. But yeah, that's why this movie is such kind of an important thing to me, and that's why when I saw this, I initially was gonna pass it up because it's $50. $50 for him. And I thought about, well, maybe I should wait until November 1st and go back, because the last couple of years I have had luck in waiting till November 1st to go back for like a bigger item that I didn't want to spend, $100 on. That's how I got my Sam from Trick or Treat and my Annabelle doll, was going back on November 1st. But this unnamed clown is ultimately just like too relevant to me. So he had to stay. So yeah, that's, again, probably like my favorite Halloween edition this year. I'm told that he has to stay here in the void space because I don't have a clown phobia, so I don't find him inherently creepy. I just like that he is what he is. And also, I mean, if you've watched this channel, you may realize that I like things that aren't supposed to exist in our reality. I like to collect things like Nuka-Cola bottles and bottle caps and Mentats and Bioshock Eve and that little baseball-headed doll, which I do have. It's on a shelf you can't see on the camera, the way that the desk is currently set. I love having things. I have my South Park cheesy poofs from when the movie came out, again, 30 years ago. So, I mean, it's I like things that aren't meant to actually exist in our reality. And this little guy is somebody who I've never seen exist in our reality before. He's the first time I've ever seen Poltergeist merchandise. Even again, from the reimagining 10 years ago now. Never seen any merch for it. So, yeah, glad to have him. He will have to find a more permanent home for the non-spooky season. But he's got a little plush tag hook on him, so I think I have an idea of what I can do with him for the other like 10 months of the year where he's not relevant to here. So that's all I've got today. Got Skeleton Tayto and the Poltergeist Clown. What do you think? Which one do you like the best? What do you think of the movie Poltergeist? Do you have any horror movies that are like core memories for you from your childhood, and like your first horror film that you saw that really had an effect on you? Let me know about it in the comments below. But I hope you found this all interesting or entertaining. If you did, give the video a like. Don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you in the next video.